So guys, this is the last part of this chapter, and let us continue the chapter. Up to here we have read the chapter, so let us continue. Well, it's up to you, he said. I doubt it. Now who is speaking here? The doctor is speaking. I doubt it. If it will work, it will come off. But I can see you are not doing yourself or anyone else much good by staying here. Okay, the doctor who is going to give him certificate of nervous breakdown is somehow doubtful that whether if the child will take this certificate, then will he get his diploma, will he leave the school for forever, or means what is the condition and what good it will do for the child. So but along with that, he is admitting it that staying Einstein is doing nothing good for himself or for the school by staying in school. How long would you take me to say you should stay away from school? Now you just tell me. The doctor is asking Einstein that you just tell me for how much time you want a certificate. Would 6 months be all right? So 6 months will be fine or not? This is very kind of you. Einstein said, this is very kind of you. It's nothing. I have only just stopped being a student myself, so I know how you feel. Now here the doctor explains that just before 1 week he has completed his degree, and just before 1 week only he has become a doctor, but still he can feel the pain of a student. So here he is mentioning that no, it's nothing like that. I was a student and still I feel that I am a student, so I can understand your problem, and it's nothing else. Here you are. And the doctor gives him the certificate. Dr. Whale handed him the certificate and the best of luck. He wished him best of luck also. How much? Now who is asking? Einstein is asking the doctor that how much do you want for this certificate? Nothing. If you have anything to spare, invite Yuri to a meal. He is a good friend of mine. Now what doctor said that if you really want to do something, then invite Yuri for a meal, because he is my good friend and I think yours also. Albert had no money to spare. Actually, what is the condition? What reality is, Albert had no money, but he pretended he had and took Yuri out to supper. But he pretended that he had some money and he wanted to give some money to the doctor, but actually he had nothing. So now, isn't it wonderful? He said after showing Yuri the certificate. After taking the certificate from the doctor, he went to Yuri and he showed that certificate to Yuri. Yes, it's fine, Yuri agreed. 6 months is a good period. This way you won't actually be leaving the school. So if the worst comes to the worst, you will be able to come back and carry on for your diploma. Okay, and Yuri just checked his backup plan that if suppose of course this medical certificate is for 6 months, and for 6 months you need not to come to school, and if something worst would come, then in that situation you can come to school back and you can continue for your diploma. I'll never go back to that place, Albert assured him. And what Albert said that he would never go to that hated place again. I am going to take the certificate to the head teacher tomorrow, and that will be the end of it. That will be the end of what? That will be end of his school life. Don't forget to get the reference in writing from your mathematics teacher first, Yuri reminded. Now Yuri reminded him, Yuri ने उसे याद दिलाया कि before giving the certificate, you just do one thing, just ask your mathematics teacher to give you reference. Mr. Coach willingly gave Albert the reference he wanted. Now who is Mr. Coach? Mr. Coach is Albert's mathematics teacher who gave him reference willingly. He didn't have any objection. If I say I can't teach you anymore, who is saying this? The mathematics teacher is saying this, and probably you'll soon be able to teach me. Will that be all right? He asked. Now the mathematics teacher is asking that, of course Albert was very intelligent in mathematics, so the teacher is somehow jokingly he asked him that अगर मैं ये कहूँ कि अब मेरे पास तुम्हें पढ़ाने के लिए कुछ नहीं है या थोड़े दिनों में तुम ही मुझे पढ़ाने के लायक हो जाओगे, देन इतना काफ़ी है तुम्हारे सर्टिफिकेट के लिए. That's saying too much, sir, said Albert. Now Albert said that it's too much, sir, that please don't say it like this. It's only the truth, but all right. Now it's speaking it, the teacher is saying that this is the truth only, but okay, all right, I'll put it more seriously and I'll take the reference more seriously. It was still a glowing reference, but still he wrote something good, something very good on his reference. And Mr. Coach made the point that Albert was ready immediately to enter a college or institute for the study of higher mathematics, and he mentioned this point especially, that Albert was ready immediately to enter a college or institute, कि एल्बर्ट को इतना अच्छे से मैथ्स आता है कि वो हाल फिलहाल किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूट को या कॉलेज को ज्वाइन करने के लायक है. So I'm sorry you are leaving us, although you are wasting your time in my class, he said. So the teacher is saying that of course I'm sorry that you are leaving us because you were so good in my subject, but what actually the fact was that you were just wasting the time here. It's almost the only class. Who is speaking here? The Einstein is speaking. It's almost the only class where I'm not wasting my time. Here, when the teacher said you are wasting the time here, then Albert reminds him that, so your class only, I was enjoying only one class, and that was yours. I was not wasting time in your class, said Albert. But how did you know I'm leaving? Now Einstein is asking to his maths teacher that how do you know? You wouldn't have asked me for this reference otherwise. Now what the teacher said that अगर तुम नहीं जा रहे होते तो मुझसे ये reference कभी नहीं मांगते. I thought you would wonder. And who is saying? Einstein is saying that when I would मैं तो ये सोच रहा था कि जब मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि मैं छोड़ के जा रहा हूँ तो आपको सरप्राइज होगा. Now, there is nothing to wonder about, Einstein. I knew you were going to leave before you knew yourself. मतलब इसमें वंडर होने वाली कोई बात नहीं है, क्योंकि मुझे पता था कि तुम पहले ही छोड़ जाओगे हमें, इससे पहले तुम्हें अपनी असलियत का पता चले. Here actually the mathematics teacher is all aware about Einstein's capability, and that's why he is using the before knowing yourself I knew that you would leave us. Albert was puzzled. What did the teacher mean? He soon found out before he had a chance to ask for an interview with the head teacher. He was summoned to the head room. Now, he soon found out means before he wanted to meet the head teacher, but before he went in, he was summoned. He was called by the head teacher. Well, it saves me the trouble of having to wait an hour or two outside, he thought. So, according to Einstein, it was a good thing that he had not to wait for an hour or two outside the principal's office, outside the head teacher's office. So, it was good for him. He hardly bothered to wonder why he had been sent for, and he didn't just bother himself. उसे कोई ज़्यादा फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता था कि उसे क्यों बुलाया जाता है head teacher के उस ऑफिस में. And vaguely supposed he was to be punished again. Okay, and slightly he was it was in his mind कि उसको फिर से punish करने के लिए बुलाया जा रहा होगा for bad work or laziness, something like. Well, he had finished with the punishment. लेकिन अब उसे लगता है कि अब punishments का जो दौर है वो ख़त्म हो गया है, because he was going to finish his school life, and this would be finished with the school life only. I'm not going to punish you. Who said this? The head teacher said this, to Albert's surprise. And Albert was surprised to hear that the head teacher was not going to punish him. Your work is terrible, and I'm not prepared to have you here any longer. Einstein, I want you to leave the school now. Okay, so head teacher has given him the last and final decision that they can't keep Einstein anymore with them. They can't tolerate Einstein anymore. That's why he had to leave the school. Leave the school now? Leave school now, repeated Albert, dazed, surprised, although he was there to give him certificate, but he was not expecting that he would be expelled. That is what I said. You mean, said Albert, that I am to be expelled? And here Albert is just clarifying the thing that you want to say, that I am expelled from the school. You can take it that way if you wish, Einstein. The head teacher said that if you want the things, if you want to take the things in this way, then it's your choice. The head teacher was not mincing words. The head teacher was not delicatingly, just speaking to him. There was no respect, and there was no concern about Einstein in his words. The simplest thing will be for you to go out, to go off your own accord, and then the question won't arise. Actually, the school wanted to expel, but they were somehow afraid, so that the questions must not be arise. That's why he asked, the head teacher asked Einstein only, that before I just expel you, before I just throw you out of the school, you just do one thing, just go yourself. That will be good for you and for the school. But said Albert, what crime have I done? What crime have I committed? Now here Albert wanted to know actually why, of course, I was panicked and I really don't want to come to this hatred school, hatred place. But I want to know, what crime have I done? What crime have I committed? Your presence in the classroom, the head teacher is speaking now. Your presence in the classroom makes it impossible for the teacher to teach and for the other pupils to learn. You refuse to learn. You are in constant rebellion, and no serious work can be done while you are there. So here this is the explanation that what have you committed, what crime have you committed, that your presence is no good for the students, and in your presence the class cannot be continued properly. So Albert felt the medical certificate almost out, burning a hole in his pocket. Actually, when the head teacher was telling all these, Albert was also willing to just throw out the medical certificate on his table, so that he could tell him that it's not me who has done something bad for your school. In fact, the school, your school, has just thrown me in a state of nervous breakdown. That's why this idiom has been used here. Burning a hole in his pocket means he wanted to show that certificate, that medical certificate, to the head teacher. I was going to leave anyway, he said. Really, I was already I was going to leave the school. Then we are in agreement at last, Einstein, the head said. For a moment Albert was tempted to tell the man what he thought of him and of his school. Then he stopped himself without another word. Holding his head high, he stalked out. Now when he said that I was already planning to leave the school, the head teacher commented that, oh, finally we had at least one common point, one common perspective, that you also want to leave the school. At this point, Einstein wanted to just tell him that what he actually was thinking about him and his school, but he just stopped himself, and with holding his head high, he stalked out. मतलब उसे कोई भी दुख नहीं हो रहा था, उसे कोई भी परेशानी नहीं हो रही थी कि उसे स्कूल से निकाल दिया गया. इनफैक्ट उसे फील हो रहा था, प्राउड फील हो रहा था, और अपना सिर ऊंचा करके और वो बाहर की तरफ चल दिया. ही मूव्ड आउट. शट द डोर आफ्टर यू, शाउटेड द हेड. और हेड टीचर ने बाद में पीछे से क्या चलाया, दैट यू जस्ट शट द डोर आफ्टर यू, बाहर निकलने के बाद शट करना दरवाजे को. Albert ignored, and Albert didn't pay any attention to head teacher's words. He walked straight on out of the school where he had spent 5 miserable years. एंड सीधा वो क्या किया उसने, वो सीधा स्कूल से बाहर गया, सीधा स्कूल से बाहर गया, जहाँ पे उसने उस स्कूल से बाहर गया जहाँ पर उसने अपने 5 बहुत ही दुख भरे 5 साल बिताए थे. Without turning his head to give it a last look, he was so miserable with the school, that he was so disappointed with the school, irritated with the school, that he didn't even give him a last look. He could not think of anyone he wanted to say goodbye to. He had nobody in the city whom he wanted to say goodbye. Indeed, okay. Yuri was almost the only person in Munich he felt like seeing before he left the town he had come to hate almost. Now, of course, the school, it was a place which was a hatred place for Einstein, and now the city also, he felt the same for the city also. He didn't like the city, this Munich also. So he had to come hate almost as much as the school. Elsa was back to Berlin, so Elsa was also not in Munich, so nobody else was there to Einstein to bid goodbye, only Yuri, except Yuri. And he had no other real friends. Goodbye and good luck, said Yuri when he left. You are going to a wonderful country. Yuri is wishing Albert Einstein, I hope you will be happier there. And here Yuri wishes that Einstein would be happier there wherever he was going. So we have completed the chapter, dear children, and in next video we are going to discuss about the question answers. Till then, goodbye and have a nice day.